In this section we're going to talk about the Reports and Alarms module. Now the basic setup of your VPVision is completed, it's time to turn your data into useful information. This is where the Report module and the optional Alarms module come into play. First we have to enter the administration part of VPVision. So I click on this jigsaw puzzle and then I'm in the configuration panel. In this case I'm already logged in. We've showed you already how to log in another section. So let's take a closer look at the Report module. In this chapter we will show you how to create reports and how to configure them, and then how you can send those reports over email to selected people in your organization. To enter the Report module editor, we have to first enter the admin mode of VPVision. So we click on the configuration icon, then you have to enter the admin username and the admin password. It can be the default password or maybe you've changed it already. So now we are in the VPVision configuration panel. The Report module is one of these icons here on the left. To go through it, we have to go down, and then here is the Report configuration icon. So once I've clicked on it, you see here there's already a report configured. We'll leave it for now, and I will add a new report. So I click here on the add report or on the plus to start my new report template. First I have to enter a report name. So let's call this a energy report weekly, for example. Or we can change it in, just as a normal editor in weekly energy report, if that's better. Do next. So now you see here already a sort of template with a logo, a title, and a period. The next thing we want to do is configure the report and add the modules. First I will show you the configuration part. If you click on configure, you can again enter the name or change it. You can add a location. For example, this is the weekly energy report of building 1. If you have, for example, multiple buildings with multiple compressor stations. If you like, you can change the logo here. For example, if you're a service company and you want to add your own logo, feel free to remove VPVision and add your own logo. There are some restrictions. You see that it's 370 times 140 pixels, and it should be a JPEG or a PNG image and not bigger than 1 megabyte. In the configuration, you can also enter here the auto reporting period. It can be on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, or it can be disabled. When it's on disabled mode, you can always generate a report manually over a selected period. Now let's put it on weekly for now, and then you can also change when you want to have the weekly report. For example, Monday, midnight, or let's make it Sunday, midnight, then you have the whole report from the last week. Here you can enter email addresses. So let's say there's a peter.energymanager@companyx.com. So Peter will get a report, and maybe there's another one you want to add, and so you can go on until you have about 5 in total. So you can send one report simultaneously to 5 people that need this. Later on, when you're going to you finish the report and you expect the first one to come in, if there's not a report coming in, you might check the email relay host settings if you didn't already ask it from the IT department. VPVision can send out emails autonomously, but in a lot of networks this is prohibited for spam reasons, obviously. So that's where you have to enter the email relay host, and this relay host takes care of any spam messages and makes sure that your email is not catched by the spam filters. So now the basic configuration is done. So we see here weekly energy report of building number 1. So the next step is to add modules. Now VPVision comes with several report modules, which you could see as a sort of building blocks. So well, let's click on it to show you. In this case we have already some pre-configured modules, but I will add a new one to show you how that process works. So click here on plus or add a module. And then you get a pull down menu on the left, and you have some choices you can see here. For example, you have an alarm overview, compressor analysis, consumption, etc. Let's start with compressor analysis. On the right, by the way, you see some info on what the module is actually doing. Click Create Module on the right bottom and enter a name. Compressor efficiency. Then we call it so, like this. Next. Now, you can change the name if you like later. You can add energy costs here. Default is 2 cents, 2 euro cents per kilowatt hour. And the format is in hours or in percentage. You can also change that. Now I can add a compressor device. And in most cases, this will be an analog input. And this analog input is connected to, for example, a power meter. Or it can be a kW meter. In this case, kW meter for compressor 1 and for 2. So let's click on this one, compressor 1. Appears to be a virtual channel in this case. Add it. So this is done. And now I can click here on Create Module. If I have multiple devices, I can add another one, but in this case it's only one input. So if this would be a widget for multiple devices, you would see this not grayed out. So now I create a module, and now it's here available. So what you can see in this one is standby hours, running hours, total consumption in kilowatt hour, total starts. Now there is something to edit here. If you click on configuration, and here you can see different compressor types and different stages of a compressor. So depending on the type you choose, you will have multiple stages or just 2 stages, or it could be a VSD compressor. So in this case we will select the load-unload scenario. And this is, for example, a compressor with a maximum power of 100 kW. So standby will be anything below 1, unload anything above 10 and below 30, and loaded is between 30 and 100, for example. So the software will analyze this and base the pie chart, which we'll show later, on these numbers. Click OK, click Save Module, and then you can see what we created here. A nice compressor efficiency overview, which shows you the standby hours, the unloaded, loaded hours, total consumption, total starts, and load-unload cycles. Crucial information also if you want to see if the control system is working properly. Now we can add multiple modules to a report, so let's add another one. And now I show you just a pre-configured one, like a critical performance indicator overview. Let's click on this one. And here is another one. So now it's a report with 2 modules. And if you don't like the order of things, you can just drag and drop them and change the order. Let me show you one more module. The air usage summary, for example. So this is a summary module. There's already one here. I will show you briefly. Summary module can be a summary of all consumers, min, max, average, and the unit, right? So how to configure this? Go to modules, add a new one, summary, gives you min, max, and average value of the selected input. So let's create that one. And we say this is the consumption overview. Next. Now we can add devices to this. So this is consumption, so it's about flow. So let's take all the flow meters. For example, this one, flow scope M, flow. And then click next. Now we have 3 flow meters in this consumption overview. And we can create this module. And now it's available in the report. Remember, you can always delete a module, but it's not actually deleted. It's only disappeared from the page. And you can get it back here by clicking on modules and add it again from the list. So no worries, if you delete one accidentally, you can always get it here back from the list. If you want to delete a module, that's fine, but it should not be used on any of the reports you created. Let me show you how that works. If I click on delete, it will prompt, are you sure? And if you click on yes, and it's used on a report already, you will get a message. Error, this module is used in a report. Remove it first from the report before deleting. So you can be sure that you will never delete a module accidentally. Right? Close. So now I have a simple report with 3 modules, and you can see there there's still white space, so I could add another one. You can keep on adding modules to the report, and when the report is generated in PDF, page breaks will be added automatically. So let's add another module here, error usage summary, maybe another one with alarms. Right, so we have 3 modules here, and now we can click here on Create Report to save it. Now you can see that the report is saved, Weekly Energy Report. And if you want to change it, you can still edit it here, edit report, add some modules or change order of modules, whatever you like. And then click Save Report again to save the updated version. If you think a report is no longer relevant to the organization, but you want to still keep it in the archive, you can deactivate it here. So in that case, the report will not be available anymore in the front end, and also the email function will be stopped for this particular report. And you might want to do this, for example, when a specific compressor is taken down for service for a longer period, or you might have another reason to do this. Now I click Active again, you see the green flag. Now the report is active and available in the front end. So how does it look in the front end? Let's take a look at that. I go to the user view, and I go to reports. And you see here there are already some reports generated. And I can do it manually, in this case generate reports. I want to see the weekly energy report, and I want to see it over the last day. Click on generate. And now the data is being processed and turned into your first PDF report. Depending on the amount of data and the period, it might take a while. You can follow the progress bar. Yeah, it's ready already. Click on View here to view the report in PDF. So the report is opened, and you can view the report as it has been generated. Now in this case there is no alarms, for example, and well, this is a system which is now not running, so the compressor is also in standby mode over this period. And here you have a summary of the consumption, temperature, etc. You can, by the way, also see that the report can be configured in different units. You can use SI units, or you can use imperial units, or you can mix them all together if you want to add some confusion for your fellow colleagues. If you like, you can always delete a report by clicking on the Delete Report red cross. So, for example, this one. And then it will ask you, are you sure? Click yes, and then the report will be deleted. This doesn't mean that the template is deleted, it's just the outcome of the report. So you can generate it here again if you need to select, for example, a different period. Remember, on the pages of VPVision, you're using widgets, and those widgets are intended for real-time monitoring. The modules which you're using in the report module are different. These are only used for reporting and cannot be shown on the real-time dashboards. So you have to make them separately. Now let's talk about the alarms module in the next few minutes. To configure alarms, click on this alarm icon here with the exclamation mark, and then you will enter the alarm module configuration. Okay, let's create an alarm. In the same manner as creating other things, you just click here on the plus or the create alarm text, enter a name, and I want to do a pressure alert. Type in pressure alert, or maybe make it low pressure alert, because that's something you don't want to have in your factory, too low pressure. You want to lower it, but not too low. Click OK. And you see here that the name is now here in this list, and everything is still on red because it's not configured at this moment. First, click on the edit, the pencil here, to edit the alarm. Now there are two ways to configure alarms. There's the simple mode, which is in right now, or you can go to advanced mode. Let's start with simple. In the simple mode, first have to do sensor selection. So let's take a flow scope inline, because they come with a cool built-in pressure sensor. And click here the input pressure. It's in bar, or you want to do maybe PSI, but let's keep it in bar in this case. And let's say I want to have an alarm below 5 or 4.5, so 4.5, and max I don't really care about. All right, so then I do save. Now we have created the basic alarm. I can edit additional parameters. So let's click on edit. You see here, but it's still the flow scope inline, of course, with pressure in bars, 4.5. Now click on configure to configure it even further. Low pressure alert will be the name, which will be shown also in the front end. The filter, so I don't want an alarm, you know, for a short period of time. So the pressure has to be, for example, at least 1, 2, 3, whatever minutes below that threshold value before I want to see an output. I can also change the priority. Let's make this a very important one, priority 1. So then we'll get a red icon here. Click OK. For every alarm you set, you can also set email. And this means you will get an automatic email alert when the alarm occurs for a certain period of time. Click on email, and then you can create a text. It's a low pressure alert. Maybe it's for compressor room 1. And then you can do some text like there is low pressure for more than 1 minute in compressor room 1. Please send technician to check, for example. Then I can add an email address, maybe more. So let's do this to John, maintenance manager at maintenance.com. I will click this one away, so there's only one, and then I will save it. So now the email has been set. Save alarm. So everything is now ready to use. The only thing I have to do is make it active. And you can make the alarm active here by clicking the flag, the red flag, and it will turn into a green flag. Now the alarm is set to active. Even when the alarm is active, you still have to activate separately the email function. There could be circumstances that you want to suppress the email function. For example, if you have already detected the alarm, the service check is underway, or the service call has been planned, so you don't want to have additional emails. In this way you can disconnect here or disable the alarm. You can also snooze the alarm for a certain period of time, for example for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or a couple of days. Before you can use this functionality, you have to edit the alarm and then click the snooze button here to set a specific time. For example, I want to snooze the alarm for the next 8 hours. Now it's done. Now I can click save. So now if I would click this, snooze, then I know that the next 8 hours the alarm will not set off. And after 8 hours, automatically the flag will turn red again and the alarm will be active. I'm going to show you how to create advanced alarms. Advanced alarms can be used to combine multiple signals into one alarm output. Let's call this pressure loss alarm. Now, let's take a look at this. Every alarm you create will start as a normal alarm. So if you do edit now, you will see that it's the normal screen. But now I can switch here to advanced mode. So let's click on this. You get a warning because you cannot go back. As soon as you have turned it into advanced, it stays advanced. Let's do it. Now you get a sort of white piece of paper, blank piece of paper, on which you have to configure your alarm. How to do this? Click on Add, and then you have to select a type of node. So this consists of nodes and some operands and some ands. I will show you. First, click on a sensor and select one, like again a flow scope, and then I want to use flow in cubic meters per hour. You see here this little icon. Click on OK, and then here is my flow input, which I can drag and drop somewhere on this screen. Let's add another one. Sensor, again from the same flow scope, could be also a different one, but in this case I want to use the pressure of this flow meter in bar. So now I have another icon here. It says pressure. Now what I want to do is I want to create a pressure alert only at a certain flow rate. Now I'm going to add some logic to this alarm. Click on the add button. I'll use comparator, and for example greater than. So here's my greater than icon, and I will add a constant value. That is a variable, right? So white icon, and then I have to add a number, like for example greater than 50. Here it is. So now I can connect the dots together. Flow greater than 50. So the end of this, the output would be, if it's greater than 50, it will output a 1, and if it's lower than 50, it will output a 0. For the pressure, I also add something. If pressure gets lower or equal than something, so if I have a lower than equal one, and I will add also here a number, variable, lower than 4. It's really critical. So I'll add this, and then I will say here pressure lower than 4. So now flow larger than 50, pressure lower than 4. Now I want to add a logic block here to combine those two. So I say here logic, and then I will say the AND logic here. So add AND, and I will connect the dots here again together. So what I've created now is a statement that says if flow is higher than 50 and pressure is lower than 4, then create an alarm condition. So I add an endpoint for the alarm output and connect it also together again, like this. And here's my alarm. Flow higher than 50, pressure lower than 4. Both conditions should be met, then output the alarm. So if I save it, it's done. Then we have the alarm created. Also for the advanced alarm, you have of course the same things, like you have to put it active. You can set email functionality, and in all cases you can also edit the alarm if you want to make any changes. And I want to show you this editing part. Suppose we want to change this variable here. I can double click it, and then I can select an option. Do nothing, delete it, change it. So I will click change. It says 50, but I think, well, it's based on our experience, I want to change it to 70, and I change it, and now it's changed to 70. And maybe pressure of 4 bar is good, so I want to change pressure, change it to 3.9, and now it's done. Save alarm, again confirmation, and now the alarm has been changed. So now we have shown you all the ins and outs and secrets of VPVision. Now it's up to you to make your project a success. Save a lot of energy and reduce the compressed air consumption throughout the plant, and make your plant the greenest in the whole world. Thank you for watching.